What if I told you some college basketball arenas are so massive they make NBA venues look small, but most of the time they're practically empty? Why do some schools have arenas that can hold 10,000 plus fans when they barely get a few hundred to show up? Some of these stadiums were built with big dreams, visions of powerhouse programs, championship banners, and roaring crowds. Instead, they've become half-empty reminders of overambition, bad planning, and sometimes just bad basketball. So how did these stadiums get so big, and why do they stay so empty? That's exactly what we're diving into today. Welcome to Big Builds. Alabama State's Dunn-Oliver Acadome, 7,400 seats, barely 1,000 fans. In Montgomery, Alabama, the Dunn-Oliver Acadome was meant to be a game changer for Alabama State University. Built in the early 1990s, this 7,400-seat arena was designed to be a hub for college basketball in the region. The school had ambitions of growing into a top-tier basketball program. But today, that dream has faded. Alabama State's basketball team struggles to stay relevant, and that lack of success has crippled attendance. On most game nights, they're lucky to get 1,000 fans, and that's when the team is playing well. That means over 85% of the seats are empty at any given game. Another problem? The arena is off campus, making it inconvenient for students. Instead of walking a few minutes to watch a game, students would rather stay home or do anything else. Now, Alabama State is stuck with a massive arena that barely gets used. It costs millions to maintain, but ticket sales barely bring in a fraction of that. It's a perfect example of a stadium built on ambition, but not reality. Chicago State's Jones Convocation Center, 7,000 seats, just a few hundred fans. Chicago is a basketball city, home to Michael Jordan's Bulls, DePaul, and a strong high school scene. But one place you won't find a packed arena? Chicago State University. Their Jones Convocation Center was built in 2007 with 7,000 seats, with the school hoping to build a competitive team and a passionate fan base. The problem? The fan base never materialized. Most of the students at Chicago State are commuters, meaning they don't stick around after class to watch a game. The team has also struggled for years, rarely competing for championships or attracting high-level recruits. That means empty seats, a dead atmosphere, and a venue that feels like a ghost town on game nights. Attendance often hovers around 300 to 400 fans, which is less than 5% of the arena's capacity. That's barely enough people to fill the student section, let alone an entire stadium. At this point, it's clear that 7,000 seats were a mistake. Chicago State doesn't have the demand to justify an arena this size, yet they still have to pay for its upkeep, creating an ongoing financial drain. California State Bakersfield's Icardo Center, built too big for its own good. When Cal State Bakersfield transitioned to Division I basketball, they thought they needed a stadium to match. That led to the construction of the Icardo Center, a 3,800-seat arena meant to help the school grow into a respected mid-major program. But here's the problem. Bakersfield isn't exactly a basketball-crazy town. Unlike California's bigger cities, it doesn't have a strong college basketball culture. That means the school has struggled to fill seats, even when the team is doing well. At most games, attendance hovers around 1,000 to 1,500 fans, leaving large sections of the arena empty and lifeless. That's a major problem because atmosphere matters in college basketball. A half-full arena kills the energy of the game, making it less exciting for players and fans alike. On top of that, maintenance costs are high, and without consistent ticket sales, the program has to rely on outside funding just to keep things running. It's a classic case of overbuilding, assuming fans would come just because there was a bigger venue. Instead, the school now has more space than it will ever need. UTRGV Fieldhouse, 6,800 seats, but who's watching? The University of Texas Rio Grande Valley, UTRGV, had high hopes when they built the UTRGV Fieldhouse. They envisioned a thriving basketball culture in Edinburgh, Texas, where students and locals would pack the 6,800-seat venue to cheer for their team. But the reality? This arena rarely sees more than 1,000 fans per game. University of Texas Rio Grande Valley is not a traditional basketball school. The program has struggled to gain relevance, making it tough to attract top recruits and serious fan interest. Students, most of whom commute, don't stick around for games, and the general public isn't invested enough to fill the seats. As a result, most home games have a hollow atmosphere. The few fans that do show up are scattered throughout the arena, making it feel even emptier than it already is. And let's not forget the cost. Maintaining a venue this size requires millions in operational expenses, yet ticket sales barely make a dent. This was a classic overestimation of demand. They built a stadium thinking it would spark excitement, but you can't create a fan base out of thin air. Now, UTRGV is stuck with one of the most underused venues in college basketball. Southern Illinois Arena, 10,000 seats, a team that's fading. Southern Illinois University's Banterra Center, formerly known as the SIU Arena, was built to be a basketball powerhouse in the Missouri Valley Conference. With a 10,000-seat capacity, the school was once packing the house during the early 2000s, when SIU was a top mid-major program. But those days are gone. Today, the team struggles to attract fans, and average attendance has dipped below 3,500 per game. That means nearly 7,000 empty seats on any given night, making the arena feel too big for its current state. So what happened? The team declined after their golden era, and once you lose momentum, it's hard to get it back. Younger students don't remember the good years, and with fewer wins, there's less incentive to show up. But the real issue? The arena is outdated and oversized. The school doesn't have the resources to renovate or downsize, so they're stuck with a half-empty venue that feels like a relic of better days. Unless SIU can revive its former dominance, this arena will remain one of the biggest in college basketball, but also one of the emptiest. Idaho's ICCU Arena, 4,200 seats, but no basketball culture. When the University of Idaho opened the ICCU Arena, they had big dreams. It was a brand new modern facility with 4,200 seats, meant to create a strong home court advantage. But here's the problem. Idaho isn't a basketball state. Football dominates the sports culture, and the basketball program has never been a powerhouse. Despite having a new stadium, the Vandals struggle to get more than 1,000 fans per game, making it one of the most underutilized arenas in the country. The design of the arena is beautiful, but what's the point if nobody is watching? The program simply doesn't have the fan base to justify an arena this size. And since it was built with millions in funding, the university is now left with a venue that costs more to operate than it generates in revenue. Without a major turnaround in basketball culture, the ICCU Arena will remain a ghost town on game nights. It's a prime example of how throwing money at a program doesn't always guarantee success. University of Tennessee at Martin's Elam Center, a 5,000-seat mystery. The Elam Center at the University of Tennessee Martin is another example of a stadium that shouldn't exist at its current size. Built with 5,000 seats, the university believed it could grow into a strong basketball school. But instead, the program has remained largely irrelevant, drawing an average of 500 to 800 fans per game. That means over 80% of the arena is empty on most nights, making it one of the saddest atmospheres in college basketball. The main issue: location. UT Martin is in a small rural town, and there simply isn't a big enough population to generate consistent fan interest. Students aren't passionate about the team, and locals have other priorities. Despite its huge size, the Elam Center is one of the most underused arenas in Division I. It serves as a painful reminder that just because you build it doesn't mean they'll come. So, what do all these arenas have in common? Overambition, poor planning, and a failure to understand actual demand. These universities thought big. They wanted massive, impressive arenas to elevate their programs. But without consistent fan support, winning teams, or the right location, these arenas have turned into empty, expensive money pits. Most of these schools can't afford to tear them down or renovate, so they're stuck with overbuilt venues they'll never fill. Some might try reducing seating capacity. Others may turn to alternative events to generate revenue, but the reality is, most will continue to struggle. But what do you think? Which of these arenas do you think is the biggest waste? And should schools stop building massive venues unless they have the demand to support them? Let us know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, hit that like button and subscribe for more breakdowns of the biggest and strangest sports venues. Thanks for watching Big Builds.